Now we are going to start our discussion, and we are proud to present our panel group. We would like to invite Tyler Thompson to begin the panel session. He is an award-winning speaker, coach, and trainer who delivers dynamic keynotes and immersive training sessions for some of the UK's most renowned organisations. Passionate about social mobility, his career spans services as a former police officer, extensive youth work and school work, and his current role is within the My Ends team at the Mayors of London Violence Reduction Unit. Woo.
Thank you very, very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler. Good evening. That was beautiful. I'll be chairing the panel for this evening, and the theme of the panel is community-led solutions to violence affecting young people. And this is how it's going to work. We have 6 panelists and about 30 minutes, so it's going to be tight. But I'm going to introduce the guests one by one. As they come on, you give them a nice loud round of applause, and then they'll take a seat, and then I'm going to ask them one question each. And they're going to have approximately 2 minutes to answer the question. And then once they've all answered the question, we're going to throw it back to you guys, and you guys can bring the panel to life. Any thoughts, any questions, any reflections you have, that will be your opportunity to ask them. Does that sound like a reasonable plan for the next half an hour? Are you ready? I said, are you ready? Fantastic. All right, so our first guest joined the Metropolitan Police in 1999 during a pivotal time following the Macpherson report, where a black woman joining the Metropolitan Police was seen as controversial. She is deeply committed to protecting young people from exploitation and violence, and currently leads Project Alpha, which specialises in serious youth gang violence. Please welcome Detective Inspector Donna Caesar. Hello. Oh, so everyone's in the audience. Fantastic. So our next guest, what seat do you want? You're going right there. All right, wonderful. So our next guest is the CEO of Safer London and former CEO of London Youth, the largest network of youth organisations in the capital. She was also previously CEO of PACE, and she has previously worked in director positions within the MS Society and the King's Trust. In her early career, she worked as a youth worker for young people who were not attending school or at risk of exclusion. Please welcome Rosemary Watt-Wyness. Hello. Our third guest is Dr. Arokia Antonisamy. She is an award-winning psychiatrist, researcher, and visionary leader in mental health. She is the CEO and co-founder of Mind Connect, a digital mental health platform. Oh, she's coming up straight away. Fantastic mental health platform empowering patients to take control of their care. Her innovative approaches to reducing violence in psychiatric inpatient units were showcased in the BBC documentary Keeping Britain Alive. Her work continues to redefine how mental health care is delivered, making her one of the most influential voices in contemporary psychiatry. Please give it up for Dr. Arokia Antonisamy. All right, so we've got 3 more. We're going to head to the business world, and we're going to introduce Chris Matthews, who is the director of Ample Mortgages, one of the UK's most trusted mortgage and protection advisory firms. Chris has built Ample Mortgages into a firm known for its personal touch, particularly among the UK's growing South Asian and expatriate communities. His personal journey, from a non-sales background to leading one of the UK's fastest growing financial advisory firms, is a testament to his resilience, client-first approach, and passion for ethical advice. Please make some noise for Chris Matthews. Thank you, Chris Matthews. Thank you. And then there were 2. Lillian Campbell. Lillian Campbell is a service manager at Young London Today. She's passionate about God, supporting and helping others, and making a positive difference in people's lives. Outside of work, she enjoys staying active through boot camp, boxing, and watching horror movies. She spends quality time with her family and loves to support others as much as she can. Please give it up for Lillian Campbell. I am blocking you, sir. You are not Lillian. Okay, Lillian's she's stepping in for Lillian. You're Sinai. Okay. So that's not who I'm meant to be introducing. I'm meant to be introducing someone called Sinai Banon.
No, it's Abel.
Okay, Abel, would you like to tell us about yourself very briefly?
My name is Abel.
Abel Johannes.
Give it up for Abel Johannes. All right, so you can take one of these. I will take this one. Okay, so who wants to go first? Well, I've already decided. So oh. Donna Caesar is going to answer our first question. Okay, so our first question. So from your experience policing in local communities, what practical steps help build trust between young people and the police?
Hi, firstly, thank you for inviting me. I'm really privileged to be here. I think the entertainment so far has been absolutely amazing. Joyful from Sister Act. Love it. It's one of my favourite films. But yeah, I mean, as you've already shared, I've been in the Met for 26 years. I joined the job at a time where a black person joining it as a female as well, very, very controversial. And I think my family's attitude was, Donna's not going to make it a day at Hendon. And 26 years later, I am still here. Thank you. And I think what I would say is that I love it as much as I loved it when I first joined. I joined for my community, I joined for my family, and I joined to do the right thing. And I think I've done that from day one up until today. So again, thank you for allowing me to be here. So a lot of the work that I have done has been in and around the black community. I've done trident murders, trident shootings. I have worked with families through some of the worst tragedies, through some of the worst circumstances that you possibly can. And I'm not blind to the fact that trust and confidence with some of our communities are not where it needs to be. But what I would say on top of my day job, which is a very busy day job, is I will go into schools, I will go into establishments with young people, and I will devote time to sitting down, having very difficult and very critical conversations with young people. I don't shy away from the harshness of what I see on a day-to-day basis, and I don't think young people, sadly, we can't protect them from some of these realities. And hopefully through the work that I do with some of my team, it's having those conversations. And I think when you speak about what can we do to work with our communities, work with young people, I think it starts with actual listening. I think as an organisation sometimes we're guilty of not really listening to what people are saying because we like to talk a lot. So I think my first practical step when I go out and speak to young people is I listen. I don't listen to respond. I listen to hear what is being said to me, so I can then go away, speak to my team, speak to those that have far more influence than myself, and say this is what is being actually said, and we need to listen. And I think from there, it's about showing up. I could have been anywhere today. I'm actually on call today, but I could have been anywhere, but I'm in South East London, so coming over to Croydon is a little bit of a trek. But you've got to be consistent. You've got to show up for young people. They need consistency. They need to know that it isn't, we're leaning into you and we need something, we need a response, and then you disappear. So I'm very, very consistent in the work that I do. And I think, finally, it's about feedback. Don't speak to young people, don't have conversations with young people, and then don't go back to them and say, this is what I did, this is what I have done with the piece of information that you give me. When I say information, I don't mean intelligence. I simply mean these are some solutions that we have. And I think the best example I can give is Red versus Blue, which was quite recent, the viral sensation on TikTok. I spoke to 130 kids in North London, and then I spoke to a smaller cohort of 30 children, and they gave some amazing feedback about what we needed to do in policing to solve and to solutionise some of the issues and concerns that we saw. Thankfully, you have a wonderful BCU commander, Mr. Blackburn, who couldn't come today. And I was able to go back to him as the gold lead on Red versus Blue and say, sir, this is what young people are saying. This is what we need to listen to. And with that piece of information, he then took it back to those who work to him and for him and said, this needs to form part of the policing plan. So for me, it's a very simple 3-step plan. It's about listening, it's about showing up and being consistent, and it's about feedback. And with that, like I say, Red versus Blue, which was absolutely horrendous, a lot of the young people I spoke to, that's what we were able to do. So, yeah, it's nothing really sensational or amazing or shocking. It's just quite simple. Listen to people, listen to young people. They feel sometimes overlooked, unheard of. And when I come into a room, yeah, they know that I'm not going to be messing around. I've got 2 young nephews, and they live in London, and I can see some of the tragedies. South East London, a little over a year ago, we dealt with the murder of Kayleon Basaka, a young 14-year-old lad who was sadly and tragically murdered on a bus. I travel that way every day. I was there today. And this is the message that I go to young people with. It's not to scare them, it's not to frighten them, but this is some of their realities. And I think it's been said here today. We try to speak to them, and we are police officers, but we speak about choices, making good decisions for yourself. I've worked on some horrific jobs, and if I can give one child a glimpse of what they can be, then I think I'm doing my job. I'm policing, but I'm also caring about young people. So it's as simple as that for me.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, so reminder to keep your questions, start thinking of them, because we're going to come to you guys afterwards. I am going to come to Dr. Rokeya next. You can keep that one. I'll keep my own. How can communities reduce the stigma around mental health so that young people feel safe seeking support before problems escalate?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. It's been an amazing experience watching all the youngsters, and especially the hip hop. I mean, a couple of days ago, I was in San Diego, and I'm not sure if the younger generation, you're aware of the social influencer, Josiah Fraser, and he's doing a lot around, mental health. And I can see some of the themes resonating with, some of the songs you were singing today. Coming back to stigma now, can anyone guess the prevalence of mental illness? How common is mental illness, you think? Very, very common. Literally 1 in every family, right? 1 in 5, and some figures show that 1 in 4 develop a mental illness. And this is no serious joke, right? This is really, really serious. Literally every family in the land. In 2005, the Royal College held a campaign to bring this awareness about mental illness, because everybody felt, oh, it's not there, it's not me, it's not me. Actually, it's in every household. And so despite it being that common, why do people fail to seek help? As a psychiatrist over 20 years, 2 words terrify me until date that I hear from my patients. I'm fine. I'm sure you all may have heard that, as parents, as teachers, as colleagues, as friends. The last I heard that was from my patient who sadly I lost to gunshot injury. He shot himself. Why, whilst you're saying I'm fine, and this is again for parents, teachers, colleagues, when you look at someone and when you feel that something's not right, and when they say I'm fine, just look at their body language. You can sense that there's a Netflix of drama going in their head, but they don't want to say it because they just don't know how to say it. It's not that they don't want to share. They would love to share it with someone, but how can they trust you? So it is really important that you start building trust in the community. The second reason why people hesitate to tell someone is they dismiss it themselves. They think, oh, it's not that serious enough. I'm not running around. I'm not, mad. I'm not going bonkers. So that's the label attached to mental illness. You needn't lose yourself entirely to develop mental illness. Any one of us can, develop mental illness. As I was walking to this venue, I heard, a friend of mine saying how his wife developed postnatal depression. It's so common. It can happen to anyone. People think mental illness affects the poor, the illiterate, the socially deprived. Not necessarily. It can affect anyone. It can happen to anyone. So the second bit is people don't, they don't take it seriously. And the third reason why people don't speak up is that they just don't know the pathways available. Who do I talk to? So most of my patients now, before they come to me, maybe about 2 years ago, they go speak to their friend or teacher or school counselor. But now you know where they go. I'm sure you all know the answer, ChatGPT, right? For this very same reason, and that's heartbreaking. This is heartbreaking, and we have lost a few patients to ChatGPT advice as well. And to be fair to ChatGPT, actually, I am a big fan of AI. ChatGPT does advise reasonably okay, but it's really hard to say when the advice is right and when the advice is wrong. And for the very same reason, me as a psychiatrist, for 20 years, I held a senior corporate role as a divisional medical director for the south of England. I left that role to be close to the community, and I am developing a digital mental health platform to make mental health freely accessible to everyone, make it more trustworthy. Imagine something like similar to ChatGPT, but mental health GPT, where people can trust and put in your information. That's my journey now. So just to sum it all up, three things we can do to break, stigma at an individual level, at a community level, and at a system level. At an individual level, please, speak to someone you trust. It could be anybody. It could be anybody, inside the family, outside the family, at school, to your teacher. Please speak to someone. Don't keep it, inside. It's very much like to every individual. If you see your battery charge, 2%, straight you go and charge it, isn't it? Do the same to your mind. When your charge is going low, please, find someone where you can go and recharge. So that's what at an individual level you can do. At a community level, just going back to the theme of today, love, not hate. And I think as adults, we need to practice that. Embrace the difference, whether it's color or status or region or ethnicity. We are all different. As adults, when you learn to embrace the difference, that's what you're teaching your child. I think that's important. And number 3, at a system level, mental health is still operating in the 1970s model. If you take, aeroplanes, we started off with, always you need to go into the website and do everything, and then till you go to the airport, you don't know whether you're flying or not. But now we have moved on. You're able to do all that, in your phone. You're able to track it. But where is mental health? It's still the same traditional pathway. You have to go to your GP, then go to your IAP services, and then a therapist, and then you're referred again to the GP, and then secondary care, and then community team, and then inpatient. By the time I see the patient in the clinic, he has almost lost his life, lost his friends, lost his school, university dropout, lost out of work. Yeah, we tend to see people only in crisis, and I think we need to change that. Yeah. So let's work together at an individual, community, and system level to break the stigma. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I'm going to stay on this side. I'm going to come to, what is your name? Who's replaced Lily? Mel? I'm going to come to you, Mel. So my question for you is, what message would you like to share with leaders and professionals about how they can better listen to and support young people?
I just wrote this quickly, so bear with me. As a registered service manager for Young London Stays, so Young London Stays has supported accommodation for young people. Working with young people in our Croydon homes is simple, just to really hear the young people. I think too many times we just come to assumptions. Real support safeguarding starts from listening to understand, creating a safe and consistent space, and involving them in decisions about their lives. Trust is built through reliability and what we see as challenging behaviours, often communication. If we lead with empathy and build real relationships, we can truly support and protect all young people across Croydon and London as a whole. And that's what I think.
Thank you very, very much. Okay, come to the left.
So just introducing, this is Abel, one of our young people, who's going to speak about his experience.
You going for it now? Yeah. Fantastic, go on.
Okay, my name is Abel Johannes. I'm from Eritrea. And in this country, there are a lot of many good things. but also some bad things. For example, I am a foreigner in this country, and some people they try to attack me because where I came from, and even some policies they don't want to help. However, living at my home at Young London today, and with the supporter I have received from staff, and I have been able to build a sense of community in Croydon. And all I want is I belong and feel safe. And thank you. Love, not hate.
Love, not hate. Thank you so much, Eddie. Okay, so, Chris Matthew, you have the microphone. What practical advice would you give to young people who have ideas and ambition but lack the confidence, networks, or financial support to start something?
First of all, thank you for having me here. Thank you, Manju, for inviting me here. It was worth for the 3 hours drive I came from Newport. Yes, thank you very much. So, see, just to start with, so it's a simple thing. We should take the first step. So when we started Ample Mortgages, as he mentioned, I'm an immigrant when I came to from India. So when we started it, me and my brother, when we started it, our one goal was to be successful. We just had that in our mind. So I personally think when we started, we were just 2 people, and now we are almost 40 people, 40 plus advisors working with us, and now we are working all over the UK. So the thing is, we should be consistent, and if we are consistent, then all the people around us will always also be happy with us. Okay. So I personally think that there are 5 things that need to be taken care of, that needs to be looked into when we are planning to start a business. Take that first step. Okay. All the business schools or wherever you go, when people say about do the market study, don't start a business without doing the market study, I personally say no offense with any of the stuff, but take that first step. Okay, without that first step, you will not be able to take the next step. Okay, so first step is first thing, then have that confidence. I normally, whenever someone joins with us, I say to them, 100% knowledge is not something anyone can achieve. So have a 50% knowledge and then have a 50% confident in what you're doing. Then you will be able to sustain it. Then keep studying. When you stop studying, if you think you are confident and you are able to do something, start studying the next level. Because when you stop somewhere, you are not going further. So keep learning. And the next step would be, I would always say, making good relationships. Because professionally, if you want to grow more, you will have to make good relationships. So make good relationships and then be consistent. This should be a cycle. So that's what I think. So thank you for having me here. So everyone should take that first step. If your children is planning to start a new business, help them to take that first step. I'm sorry, I'm not a very good public speaker, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much. What are you talking about? You want to hand it over to Rosemary? Great advice. Thank you. And you're a fantastic speaker. Don't say that. Rosemary, what have you learned from working directly with young people affected by violence that policymakers and services often overlook?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So I'm Rosemary, and as we said before, I'm the Chief Executive of a charity called Save for London. And we work with about 600 young people, children and young people a year who are impacted by violence and exploitation. And I think the first thing, I don't know if the person who kind of had an economics degree from the LSE, are you still here? Because I need someone who can kind of keep me to 5 points. The first thing that policymakers overlook is that actually what we are talking about are children. At Save for London, the average age of the children and young people that we see of 14. 14. So we're talking about children. And what I want to see is policymakers actually addressing the issue of violence affecting young people by taking into account that we're talking about children first. I know the Met has got a policy to actually treat them as children first. And I really hope that we can kind of work together with the Met and with other charities to make sure that actually it's not just the brilliance that we heard here, but it's every police officer who encounters children and young people are treating them as children and meeting them with the kind of response that we would all want for our own children. Second thing that I would kind of say is, actually I was really stunned when I joined Safer London to understand that about a quarter of the children that we see like are neurodivergent or have like another special educational need or disability. A quarter, and that's those who are diagnosed. So actually we reckon it's probably about half of the children and young people that we see. Like, so what we need to do is make sure, you know, the government is kind of trying to do reform to SEND policy. We need to recognise the vulnerability of this particular group and make sure that that children and young people are getting the SEND support that they need, because otherwise people are out there recognising their vulnerability and then grooming them into violence and exploitation. Third thing I would say is that it is like, I am deeply, deeply, deeply grateful that the numbers of children and young people who are being murdered are coming down. That's something that, you know, we should kind of thank God for. What hasn't changed is the levels of violence affecting girls and young women. So let's not forget that when we're making policy, because actually the level of misogyny that girls are exposed to is appalling, and we need to be focusing resource on support for girls and young women and support for boys and young men to know how to grow up and to resist the kind of the calls that are kind of putting pressure on them to behave in ways that we don't want our boys and young men to be behaving. So we need support for girls and for boys. Fourth thing, we support about 600 young people a year, like I said, but there are so many more who are waiting to be able to get a space in our service. So we need there to be a commitment. There's a duty for kind of the local authorities to coordinate services for young people, but not to actually fund it. And local councils are so cash-strapped, so many of them, but we have got to be funding work with children and young people, not just kind of hoping we can coordinate, because there are so many young people who need this support. And my final thing would be, actually, let's not forget parents in this. When, you know, at one point when I was a youth worker, I had a parent say to me, I'm really worried that my son is getting engaged in criminal activity. I feel he is being taken down that path. Like, what can you recommend? Where can I go? And I didn't know what to say. I wish I'd known about Safer London then. Like, but we need to do so much more for parents. And, you know, that parent was acting out of love for their child. And, you know, and I think it is so fantastic that we've got this event, because, you know, if we think about these young people as children, we can meet them with love and make all of our policy based on what we would do, like, out of love for children and young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Okay. So, thank you very, very much to all our panelists this evening. It's now over to you. So this is your chance to ask any question. You probably have about 2 to 3 questions, I would say. Does anybody have any thoughts, reflections, questions at this point? Yes, you, sir. I will give you the microphone.
Thank you for allowing me to ask the question. This is about mental health. You mentioned about 3 things. One is about individual, then the society, and the system. So you mentioned that system we have to improve. Who are these we?
Can you hear me now? Yeah, okay. When I say system, I think again we are all part of the system. So when things go wrong, I think we need to speak up rather than accepting that as a system. For example, if you look at the mental health needs, if you look at just specifically Croydon, a recent study from Health Watch has shown that, I said 1 in 5 suffer from mental illness, but if you look at the Croydon area, 1 in 3 has got mental health needs when you look at the adolescent population. If you look at the current systems, referral pathways, right from GP referral to seeing a specialist like me in the NHS, it takes anywhere from 6 to 18 months. And that's unacceptable. So we as adults, we can't be sit there thinking, oh, that's the system. No. So we can't put up with such a system. So we need to raise our voices. So we do have that responsibility. So I think we are all part of the system. And so many systems change because people like you and me, they do run campaigns, meetings like this, groups like this. We need to create that awareness and we need to escalate it higher. I think that's the key.
What's the fundamental delay in doing this?
Obviously, workforce shortage, workforce crisis, especially in mental health, it's becoming a bigger problem. And secondly, I mean, this is a bit controversial, and I like to be controversial, I like to be challenged. When you look at mental illness, I still don't think we have got it right. We are either overdiagnosing, and I completely agree with some of the youngsters here, when I see them in clinic, and when they tell me, they are fine, they are not mentally ill. Actually, I do agree with them. They are fine. Probably they are a bit stressed. They can be a little bit weird. There's nothing wrong. They are under some pressure, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are mentally ill. But on the other hand, there are some genuinely mentally ill people out there who are just not aware that this could be mental illness. They think that it could be pressure, stress, and go on. I think we haven't got that balance right, and that is something we need to address. And I think workforce and then getting the balance of mental health conditions, trying to remove overdiagnosis and trying to escalate underdiagnosis, finding that right balance is very important. And thankfully, the long-term plan, which has just been established in July last year, is kind of focusing on that. So we are hoping we'll get there.
Thank you. Oh, there we are. All right. We've got 2. And then if Manju lets me do another one, we'll come to you as well. Take it away.
Tonight we looked at the talent of our youngsters out there, and Marvin told a powerful story about sport and martial arts helping divert people away from sort of crime and so on. And obviously all of us have got talents in us and ourselves internally, and we tell people about the things we're interested in. But just you as organisations, do you know if you've got a talented youngster there talking to you that they're interested in something, who to refer them to? And how, there's a sports club here, or there's a place that you can go to there. And do you also think that local authorities perhaps have got a role in helping parents be able to get the kids to this sports club and that sports club? Because the power of art, music, and sport is just one of the best things for your mental health and well-being.
Yeah, really, really interesting question. I'm going to give a bit of a shout out to my old organisation, London Youth, here, because they are a network of youth clubs around London. And actually, one of the things that they have on their website is a map of 600 youth organisations around London. So you can actually just go on there and find the local youth organisations in your area. And I think it is so crucial, isn't it? Because you can think like the talent on display this evening has been amazing. And what we really need is to have a fantastic, flourishing network of youth organisations, youth clubs right across the city that provide a base of support for every child and young person, and then to have the specialist organisations like ourselves on top of that. And that's exactly what we need, is to give every child and young person an opportunity to find the thing that they're good at, that they really love doing, and then to give them the kind of ability to pursue that. And it's got to be free, because too many parents have had to make decisions about, actually, do I send my child to a paid activity? Do they go to football, which costs this amount of money? Or am I putting food on the table? So we've got to kind of also make sure that those opportunities don't cost.
Sorry, just to add on to that, Stuart.
Okay, we've got to move on quickly.
A lot of silo working is also happening. Like, I'll be sat in my clinic, and if I feel that, okay, this is someone who is mildly depressed, and, he enjoys football, all he needs to do is, join a football club. If I have a list of those, and then I can, signpost him to the appropriate football facility rather than, say, prescribe medications or therapy, because there are some simple techniques, like you said, that might help. So I think we need to break that silo working, and there needs to be a lot of joint, partnership. And I think, thanks to Manju for organizing this, forums like this is really important to help people understand what's out there, what facilities are out there, to be able to signpost patients accordingly.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, Teston. Thank you. Donna, you know how to ask your questions. So here we go. So with so many young people here today, and many of them are young black girls here, what do you do to engage these young black girls so that they are the next Donnas? Because we know that, as you said, it was very hard to get into the force. I'm blessed enough to have a daughter in the service as well, and she's coming up to 10 years, and she does a lot of what you do as well, going into school, speaking to young people. But what do you do, and aiming it at the young people now? And just one last question as well, with regards to mental health as well. So we know that the police service has actually changed their rules with regards to mental health as well. What other things would you do to actually try to, or how much of the cases that you see are mental health related? Because, with regards to, they don't come out if it's a mental health call anymore. So
Okay. I'll probably start with the first one, which I probably can't really give you a really strong answer on, because it really isn't part of the work that I actually do. I work in a very specific, specialised field at the moment and stuff like that. But yes, of course, I am aware of the changes, the recent changes that we've made in regards to our response to mental health type issues. So in response to your first question about what do I do, things like this. Like I say, I have a very, very busy day job, but I think it's massively important that I use my experiences, my journey throughout the organisation, to support and encourage other young, and maybe not necessarily just young black females, all females, to think about this as a genuine option for them. Again, I'm not blind to the issues that we have with trust and confidence. I'm not blind to what my own journey has been within the organisation. Has it all been perfect? No, I'm not going to pretend any of that. Am I still struggling with certain issues within the organisation today? Absolutely. But I remain hopeful that some of the change that we need to see, and change hasn't been as fast or at the pace that it needs to be within the organisation, but sometimes you've got to be inside it to make a change. And I use a lot of my own time to work on equality, equity, to see how we can be better in terms of fairness throughout the organisation, whether that be with retention, promotion. There are many, many causes as to why things are not as they need to be. But like I say, every opportunity that I get to sit in places like this, in smaller places, I will have those conversations and encourage young women that they can be anything that they want to be. You've just got to. I wish, and I will be honest, I wish I knew what I know now 10, 15, 20 years ago. I would not be a DI. I would probably be a superintendent, chief superintendent, but I just didn't have the confidence or the belief in myself. So that is what I try to put across to young females and young men. Listen to those people around you that are telling you that you can do it. I had a boss who said to me, Don, if you had the confidence to match your competence and abilities, you would have been way further in the organisation. I just didn't have the confidence, and I don't want people to sit down in that lack of confidence because they don't see many people that look like them. When I joined the job, I was the only black girl on my team, and it was hard breaking down those barriers. I didn't go in there, militant and Malcolm X, and I love Malcolm X, but I didn't go in that way. I just proved every single day through how I lived, how I interacted with my community, how I interacted with every part of the community, that you can do it through kindness and fairness. But the bottom line is, if there's something that I need to enforce, I'm going to enforce it. But you can do it through, through trust and confidence. And to be fair, it's worked for me. But yes, I do use every opportunity I can to speak with young people about opportunities, whether it's policing, law, whatever it is that kind of like rocks their world, to crack on with it, yeah.
I might take, oh, there we are. Okay, so I'm so sorry, because this is a fantastic panel, and this could go on for much longer. I know we have questions here and here, but it would be unfair to the remainder of the programme for the rest of this evening if we just kept going and took up all the space. So I'm very, very sorry, but please do give it up to our fantastic panellists, Donna Caesar, Rosemary Watt-Wyness, Chris Matthews, Dr. Eric here, Mel and Abel.